All right, guys, so Tim's a sounding board for me, and this is more around branding, character, and just business stuff. And what I've learned is, people drive themselves crazy. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
First question is...
It's easy to do.
What's one of the tricks that you've learned to manage the noise in your life? Because as you know, we make a post, you get a bunch of calls, you go home, got to be a father, got to be a husband. You come here, you got to be an owner, leader. Like, there's so many hats, literally, that you have to wear, while also being patient and poised at all times. And still manage yourself and your own needs. So at some point, you have to get to you, which feels impossible at times. So what's the trick to managing noise, managing yourself, and I guess remaining positive when things are sometimes falling apart or literally on fire?
Yeah, I appreciate you thinking that I have it all figured out.
I didn't say that. I said you don't wear your emotions, and I know more about you, I think, than the average person does. And you do a good job of managing yourself and compartmentalizing what's going on and managing yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I can't control what I can't control, so I don't let those things bother me. So how you react one way, or Richard reacts one way, or something like that, if it's not the way I would react or whatever, like, that doesn't change my trajectory. So I'm still focused on what needs to happen and what's important, and the limiting factors on what I can do. So yeah, it's easy to drive yourself crazy and they shouldn't have done that, or I should have got this, or we should do this, or it's the ego and the entitlement, and I deserve this. Like, man, that's a trap. So the sooner you can get out of that trap, the easier it is to kind of move everything forward.
Yeah.
Because all of those things slow you down.
What are the things that you do to manage and mitigate kind of like negativity even?
Have gratitude. I mean, if you have gratitude, you can't focus. You can't do both. Like, you can't be a victim and focus on bad things and be gracious. So yeah, if you're positive on where you're going and you're thankful for what you have, then it's hard to do the other stuff.
And I'm asking these things, guys, a couple of reasons. Tim is building something that attracts a lot of eyeballs, and there's vultures. They come out of nowhere. Everybody starts pulling at you. They all want your time, attention, and energy, and myself included. You're building this thing that you're not
a vulture, though.
No. I shouldn't even be in rooms unless I can add value.
Vultures eat beef. You can't eat beef.
I sure can eat beef. I wish I could, but I can't. But I can cook lights out. but I'm trying to make sure, as everything scales, that we all, to a degree, especially myself, you say grounded, and part of the grounded is managing the crazy, if you would, because life can get crazy.
Yeah, you asked me why I'm going camping this weekend. It's like that's a big reason why. Like, turn off the phones, get away from the city for a little bit, get back to kind of like how it was before everything was crazy. And man, that's how I stay grounded, is to spend a little time in nature.
Well, we might have to up the ante on that one, man. What's your best advice to those people that are working through things that create wild thoughts? Let me be very clear. A lot of times, as I just said, I asked a guy, and maybe even asked you before, as a father, I'm guessing, and as a man in general, and as a just human, there are probably more times than not you feel helpless, and you would do anything, have done everything to like make sure everything's okay, and then somebody gets hurt, somebody suffers a loss. You can't control, like you said, everything and anything, but what you can do is control yourself. Like, so how do you manage yourself emotionally when everything is dependent on you in a sense?
Yeah, that takes intention. And the intention is to reframe those negative thoughts, and it's that is hard to do. But you kind of notice when you think of something, and I could give you 1,000 examples in my own life. But then it's a negative thought, and you carry it, and then you're training yourself to look for facts and evidence on why this is true, and then you want other people to join in on you because misery loves company, and it's like the faster you can acknowledge that, hey, this mentality isn't promising, isn't taking me where I want to go, then it's like, okay, I need to reframe this. I need to shift my mentality. And I think everybody's a little different on how to do that, but I've spent a long time trying to reframe that when I go down that like that negative,
rabbit hole, like you
the
negative thought becomes
whatever
a
you want
negative thought.
and then you start to look at it and, oh, this person doesn't want to do this, and then you look for reasons to prove that that's true to yourself, and all of that's fake anyway. So reframing my mind to look for the reasons to debunk that negative thought, like, hey, what are the actual facts behind that? And then could it be true that the opposite is the actual truth?
So I always say two things can be true. That's literally the dude say it. I'm like this. There's always two truths.
Well, what facts do you have that the negative thing is true? What facts do you have from a neutral standpoint that the positive, encouraging things are true? Which one of those things would you rather believe? And it's usually the positive thing. Which one takes you to a place that is productive? And you're not going to say that. Okay, so then I choose to believe this. Even though I think I have facts on both sides, this one doesn't take me where I want to go. This one does take me where I want to go. So I'm going to choose to believe this side and leave that behind. And then that helps me reframe it and give people the benefit of the doubt in those situations. And that's really helped me to kind of forgive and move forward and be less offendable on stuff. And
Unoffendable.
Yeah, we're actually doing the final study on that book tonight at the Blendery so, with the men's group.
That's good, guys. Well, again, part of me prepping for the future is just being able to manage myself, and then continue to manage outcomes, which requires you to manage yourself. And the Blendery is a place, along with the things that we're doing, they're going to take a lot of energy, continued effort, and being intentional, as he said, and then deliberate too. You gotta want to walk in a room and better it, and that in itself is where it starts. And then if everybody's in the room, Ray Lewis said this when they kept everybody under 10 points. He said, "It's rough beating men who see something." So when you get a group of people, men and women, men, whoever, and all of y'all have the same vision, same intent, same goal, same ability to learn, to understand, to check each other, to have conversations that matter, you oftentimes can grow. And you don't owe nobody nothing, to be clear. So that's the other thing too. Like, man, I get a lot of noise, and I don't even tune into it. So you
don't owe anybody anything, but then also nobody else owes you anything
at all.
So whether you think it or not, and whether you go out on limb for somebody or you help somebody out, like, they still don't owe you anything.
Not a dang old thing.
And if you think you do, you're going to be disappointed, and then you have to deal with that one way or the other, and that's not productive
at all. Food for thought, man. Well, as I said, man, there's going to be more conversations like this as we continue to lay the foundation. I think for others to follow, and I myself has mapped a few things, and to a degree, I don't necessarily even know how to have the conversations. I'm like a wrecking ball. When I show up, I know things are going to change, and then I'll leave. And I better every room I get into, and I don't care to connect. And Tim does a good job of connecting and staying connected and being involved and engaging. I'm just like, I was here to do what I was asked to do, and now I'm gone. I missed a few things, so this is a place that helped me grow as a person, to be clear. And I think it's going to be super impactful in the long-term scheme of things, because we all want success. We want our peace. We want that time.
Yeah, but also, what does that mean to you? And that's a thing that a lot of people lack clarity on what that looks like, or it wouldn't be what I would say is successful. And then when you start comparing this and comparing that, then that takes you down another negative rabbit hole, because I'm confident in what we're doing here, what we're striving for, what's important to us, and hopefully every person that works here shares those similar values. And I was just across the street at one of the other businesses here, and I said, Tim, you you got great people. You got great people that work for you. I was like, I know I do. I'm very fortunate to have great people that have a similar vision on, not necessarily they know where this is going to go, because I don't even know that, but they know there's something bigger and greater than what we have, and what we're doing for other people. Like, they see that, and that's the kind of special stuff that keeps people engaged, and they want to be here, because it's not about any one individual. It's not about the business. It's not about me. It's like it's more about community and making an impact on individuals' lives that's greater than what any of this is. And when they see that, and when they feel like they're a part of that, like, then the monetary stuff means less.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you hear it all the time. When you reach a certain level that you thought, okay, now I don't have to work if I don't have to. But that's never fulfilling, because we're not designed to do that. We're not designed to just like stop and do nothing
at all, guys. Well, again, whatever you're going through, hopefully you have a good team, good group of people around to kind of assist and help. And if you don't, definitely find some. And then remember, there's two truths in everything, and there's two sides to every coin for a reason. So if you can learn. If you're living, learn, and then become a leader. And leader of your own life.
You know what we should do before, because we'll have to ramp up quite a bit, next year.
Oh yeah.
And if some people allow it, we should document some of the interview process on who we get in, and some of those questions we ask.
Yeah.
To find out if they have similar values, and if they're going to be bought in to make it special. Because I think we've all walked into places to where, okay, hey, here's just an employee that's coming in, clocking their paycheck. Yeah, the bare minimum, clocking their paycheck. And I think this business is cooked. If we get 20 part-time people that are just showing up for a paycheck, like, oh, yeah, we're done.
It will not scale.
So we have
the way that it won't reflect him.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's that, and again, I've learned that in the short term as well. I didn't think much of my approach to things, but then I realized, I'm in a good amount of the videos with Tim, and the people are just as excited about seeing Tim as they are myself. And I'm like, look, man, go talk to Tim. What are you talking to me for? But it's not the way it works. And then you go, well, I am going to be here. We've already talked about not going anywhere. And even more importantly, I believe in this business and what it can do and what it's doing for so many, including myself. So you go, embrace the fact that in those moments, being more human, caring, considerate, even engaging in conversations, and just hearing people out. Some people come here just because they want to talk and be around, a peaceful. They be at a peaceful place with people that are just men. Like, it was good. It was refreshing to be here, and I was like, okay.
Or they come out and serve with us, and do stuff, and maybe it's been 5 years, 10 years, or they've never done that before, and then they bring their kid with them to serve with us and another group of people, and it's like, man, that's powerful.
It is,
and it's a powerful dynamic, in a shift from leadership in the household, like how a man is supposed to lead in the house. I mean, we could talk a lot about that.
And we will. We will.
But if you're not serving at some capacity, then I think you're missing the mark personally, and missing the mark to show an example, to the kids that you're raising also.
Well, this goes without saying, and you probably will do another one. I know he's got to get on a phone call, but their parameters, we'll call it KPIs per se, or keep it simple. If somebody was to build this place, there's a blueprint for it, right? When you go to school, there's a blueprint to go and get a degree. There's the blueprint even to interview, right? What we realize, and I've been talking about with the guys, is there's no blueprint to being a good friend. You learn how to be on teams and work with teams. Sometimes you don't even like your team, but they're good. You learn how to be a team player. When you play sports.
Even if I shared my story, and even if I told you what works for me, like, you almost have to live it yourself.
You have to.
Like,
because I said, what makes a good friend? And if the first thing is, well, they're always there for me. What are you going through? But the other part is, Reid Hoffman, guy who founded LinkedIn, he said he would write a book on friendship. And I don't think that people really know how to be friends. And I know I don't. And I'm learning, but you go, everything else has a blueprint. We're building a business, I know how to do dog stuff, you know how to do whiskey stuff, logistics, you know how to build software. There's a blueprint to these things called life, but there's, even to be a father. You know, you get to watch your dad per se, and then you get to, you know, learn what to, what not to do. Then you turn around, you learn from your mother how to be compassionate, depending on, you know, how involved she was in a sense. But there's no blueprint. There's a blueprint to get to NBA, you know, the NFL. There's no blueprint to friendship, and that's troubling me because being at the Blendery, I've learned more than anything. There's a lot of men who need friends, and a lot of men who feel alone, and a lot of men who commit more suicide, probably because of those feelings, and they have nobody to talk to. But I looked around, I go, where do they go? Where do we go when we need a friend?
Yeah.
And there's no blueprint for it. You told me your dream. I'm like, oh, do this. We'll do this every day. You'll get there. This is what's going to happen. Boom. There's no blueprint to being a friend, and sometimes even a good person.
I think even if you map out that blueprint, or that book you just mentioned has a blueprint, I mean, it's only as good as how you execute on it, and you have to do it. And there's going to be parts in the blueprint that are like, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't have time for that. And it's like, those are key components.
All of it, right?
Yeah. So it might not be the exact blueprint that you need or you follow, but you got to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, and everybody's a little different. And if you're not trying stuff, and if you're just like, oh yeah, I got no friends, and then you don't make any attempt to do anything, then it's...
That'd be chapter 1, attempting to find your friends.
Yeah, it's tough.
Attempt.
If you're not willing to say yes to stuff, or, you know, even, my buddy Ben messaged me yesterday. He's like, hey, you still going to be out at that campsite? Drop me a pin. I'll swing by on Saturday. Huh? Like, cool. You know, like,
yeah.
You got to spend time with those people. If you don't spend time with them, then they're not really friends, are they?
I concur, my friend. Well, guys, listen. There's a lot of stuff I'm gonna talk to Tim about. We got a long road ahead of us, and you know, we're really at the precipice, at the beginning of it all. And you know, this place has opened my mind to a lot of, as he said, opportunities. And I had to learn to say yes too. I thought everything was linear. You do this, you get that, and that's true. You get these results.
Relationships.
And yeah.
And if you think that way, then you're always gonna feel like you're getting screwed.
Hey, you said it best, man. And that's not a good feeling to walk around with, to say the least. So stay tuned, man. Stay motivated. Be encouraged, whatever you're doing.